lands, and I think the presentation is by Montante Solar. Did I say that correctly, Montante? Okay, well, come on up.
Hello, members of the town board. My name is Katie Sosha. I'm the Director of Project Development representing Montante Solar, and my colleague Marcus Lathrop represents Xerox Corporation, and together we're here as the applicant proposing a 6.63 megawatt solar project to be constructed on Xerox's campus in the town of Webster. We're here today to educate the town board and the community about this project and respectfully request a referral to the town planning board for a sketch plan review. I'd like to start by introducing the project basics. I'm not sure, sorry, oh, perfect, site plan's already up. I'd like to start by introducing the project basics. This is a 6.63 megawatt solar generation facility across 20 acres of the Xerox campus near the dead end of Caracas Drive. RG&E has already reviewed and approved the project. The project has been strategically located to be sited on an area of Xerox campus where there are 2 closed landfills, leaving the area with limited redevelopment opportunities. Xerox has deemed solar as the highest and best use for this land because of this. The project will be constructed utilizing an above-ground ballasted racking system so as not to disturb the ground, particularly those 2 closed landfills. The system is geo-ballasted, utilizing rock to weigh down the ballasts, allowing for 0 penetrations to the actual ground. Sitting up top that racking will be just under 11,000 solar panels, and the solar panels will be strung together with 18 inverters. The project will be surrounded with an 8-foot tall fence in compliance with NEC code. This project is in full compliance with the Town of Webster's zoning code, encompassing 20 acres of the larger 120-acre parcel within the 20% ground cover ratio allowance. Besides Xerox, Tessie Zoned Industrial is the only direct neighbor to the project. The next neighboring parcels are over 250 feet from the closest edge of the closest solar panel. There are no residential sight lines into the project, and the project has natural forested vegetation surrounding it that we will keep in place to protect the screening. We already did reach out to the Army Corps of Engineers. They confirmed that there are no jurisdictional wetlands on site, and we're clear to move forward with the project. Montante will be adding 3 monarch planting stations throughout the array to benefit the monarch butterfly, mainly comprised of milkweed. And New York State DEC is also already aware of this project and has been in discussions with Montante and the Xerox team from a landfill monitoring perspective. There are some benefits not only to Xerox but to the larger community. So the project will directly benefit Xerox Corporation, the Town of Webster, and those in the greater Rochester area through an inclusive community solar project. Xerox Corporation will be hosting the solar array at its campus and utilizing 60% of the power generated by the solar project. The project will also allocate 40% of the energy to go to eligible subscribers through the community solar program. Those eligible subscribers are low to median income or those in a disadvantaged community as identified by NYSERDA. In addition to providing Xerox and the community with reliable, safe, renewable power at a reduced rate, the project will also help Xerox Corporation meet environmental social governance goals. At this time, I'd like to pass the mic to my colleague, Marcus, to talk through the project from Xerox's perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. So my name is Marcus Lathrop. I'm the manager of the Assessment and Environmental Operations for Xerox Corporation, part of our Environmental Health, Safety, and Sustainability department at Xerox. And so I'm here just to kind of explain why this project is important to us. So as Xerox evolves beyond its legacy in print technology to become a broader provider of software and services, we remain deeply committed to our legacy of corporate social responsibility. As part of our commitment to corporate social responsibility, we recognize the importance of addressing climate change. This is not only a moral imperative, but also a strategic business decision. Our efforts span the entire value chain, focusing on reducing greenhouse gas emissions, implementing circular economy practices, and collaborating with our stakeholders. If you're not aware of it, we have a roadmap to net zero on our website. You can find our comprehensive plan. I have some copies here as well if anyone would like that. It outlines our structured, multi-phased approach focused on emissions reduction, innovation, and collaboration. Our goal is to achieve net zero emissions by 2040. And so our approach has 4 different pillars: energy efficiency and process improvements, circular economy and low carbon design of our products, as well as carbon compensation and neutralization. So this project here touches on that 3rd item, carbon compensation and neutralization. The benefits, the key ones that we see from this project are, zero carbon electricity generation. It's going to produce clean, renewable energy. It's also a support for our state initiatives. The power generated will feed directly into the grid, supporting the goals outlined in the 2019 New York State Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. As a community solar project, this initiative will allow the community to subscribe and benefit from the project, promoting local involvement and access to renewable energy. And then optimal land use, as Katie mentioned, the location is on top of several landfills. So this is the most beneficial use of that part of our property moving forward. So in conclusion, we invite the community to join into this endeavor to create a sustainable future. By participating in this community solar project, you can contribute to reducing carbon emissions and support statewide climate initiatives. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Marcus. More?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here to answer any questions
Oh, great.
that the board has.
So one question I had was, and I've had this question, I have a friend that works in this industry, and I asked the person this question approximately 2 weeks ago. What is the disposal process at the end of life of the panels? Because according to the person I spoke to, it's not cut in stone. And I know that the materials in these panels are extremely hazardous.
So some panels do have chemicals in it that are hazardous. However, the panels that we're using for this project were reviewed and approved by DEC, and so they are listed on the NYSERDA website as a panel that's safe to use in New York State. So some panels are definitely more hazardous than others. These panels are viewed as very safe. In terms of the decommissioning process, there is a decommissioning plan. Town of Webster does have one, but we actually are already working with Xerox on a more robust decommissioning plan, just as like making sure their campus, goes back to the way it was at the end of its useful life.
Yeah, I'm not questioning the decommissioning as far as, okay, let's take the panels down, we're done, it's been 20 years, we're fine. My question is disposing of the panels themselves. You can't just put those in the landfill.
You can put them in the landfill.
Is my understanding anyways.
You can put them in the landfill in New York State. Again, the panels that we're using specifically, you can. However, there are a lot of recycling facilities out there, and that's what we plan to do with this project. They'll be part of our decommissioning plan that we'll submit to the town board.
Okay.
Yep.
Before this goes forward, you will submit that decommissioning plan to the town for review?
We'd like to move forward with the sketch plan because that's just kind of going through the site plan, but we can make that part of our actual formal application to the planning board if you like, in
great. I
addition to
appreciate
the
that.
town board.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
I have a question about the neighbors, because you mentioned Tessie was a neighbor,
Yes.
and there were also a couple other neighbors. Do you have the owners, or do you have which neighborhood this backs up to? It's hard to see from the pictures.
Yeah, if you're able to pull up a map on the screen, I'll be happy to identify. So again, this is a 20-acre parcel of a larger 120-acre parcel. So the neighbors, I guess, to the east, west, and south are either Xerox on the east and west, south Tessie. To the north, just a moment.
Bear with me.
No, that's
Slow down
okay.
here.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, to the, to kind of the northeast there, that's the closest residential property line. There's a pretty large amount of established trees in between, where those are all going to remain intact.
Okay.
And then also to the northwest, kind of same thing. There's that residential neighborhood kind of up there that's even further from 250 feet. But again, there's a lot of mature vegetation that's going to stay in place to protect the views.
So will you have sight lines as part of the application to the planning board?
We can, yep,
That would
absolutely.
be, that would be helpful.
Sure, no problem.
I have a question, but it's more, I think, for Josh Artuzo. I take it our code, the reason why this is number 6 resolution tonight at the 7:30 board meeting to refer it on to the planning board, is our code has that as the start of the process. Is that correct?
Yes, for a energy-related project in the industrial district, that is the order.
Okay. And then as it goes to the planning board, then they figure out if there's any variances and if it's got to go to zoning board, and they do all their stuff, sketch, prelim, final, all that stuff that Jennifer, you know very well about because you were on the planning board. And then it'll come back here at the end?
That's correct, for a industrial use permit and a special use permit.
Okay. And this parcel is all in the town of Webster. It's none in the village. It's just solely here, right?
That is correct.
That's all I got.
So I just have one more question, because I know you had mentioned that the town of Webster and Xerox will benefit directly. You may have said how the town is going to benefit directly, but could you just reiterate for me?
Sure. So we are going to be entering into a pilot through Monroe County, and then we've also agreed to enter into an HCA with Town of Webster as well. In addition, if the town is interested in being a subscriber to the community's solar portion of the array and get a 10% discount on that power, they're obviously more than welcome to do that as well.
So you're entering into could you elaborate on the pilot you're entering into with
Sure.
Monroe County?
Monroe County has an established pilot program for renewable energy projects. It's available on the Monroe County IDA website. So that's the process that we're going to be utilizing to move forward with a project or with a pilot there.
So how does that benefit your company?
How does that benefit my company?
Yes.
A pilot is payment in lieu of taxes, so that's just the
So
method
you're
of
gonna
paying
get the
taxes on the
Tax
asset.
incentive, correct?
I'm sorry?
You're getting tax breaks on this project?
Correct, yep, through a pilot.
I asked Josh a question. Donna, we've done a lot on this because this, I think, is our first solar project in town ever. Really?
It would be the largest.
Oh, well, it's the first one since I've been supervisor. So I know that we did stuff with the school district and you and the assessor's office in the county because we were trying to figure out that host community agreement. It's kind of what we opted for, correct? Solar, whatever they're getting on tax breaks, we get the host community agreement, we get our taxes. I put you on the spot, Donna, I apologize. I know you helped us with this a couple of months ago. You went to the county assessor. We went and looked, we had attorneys and this and that. I apologize.
That's okay.
We'll move on.
This is, the IDA is the part that's gonna.
It's fine.
And we'll talk later.
It's all good. Anybody else have any other questions?
I do not.
Could you elaborate on which pilot program it is? I think to Councilman Cahill's question, the benefit to the town, will this result in any increase in jobs within the town as a result of the agreement with Monroe County?
So the Monroe County IDA pilot program, I apologize, I don't have a copy of it in front of me or anything, but I'm happy to email it to the town after this meeting. It is called the Renewable Energy Pilot that was established, I believe, in 2021, but don't quote
Yeah.
me on the year.
Yeah, and this isn't Comida. I can't imagine the 20 acres, like, unless you consider those panels to be employees.
Oh, yeah, sorry,
I
no,
don't think it's
no.
going to create any employees, but,
There's going to be construction people.
Construction
used.
people, yeah.
So
yeah.
So
Okay.
just to the question that Tom had for Donna, you will be signing up, you will be paying town taxes as part of this, or no?
So the actual land will continue to pay the normal amount of taxes, land's not being affected by this at all. The assets or the improvement on the land will be pursuing the pilot. Part of the pilot, to my understanding, is that it'll be divided in 3 ways. I don't know the percentage allocation, but it is the county, the town, and the school district that would get a percentage
And
of
the
that.
HCA is a host community
And the
agreement.
HCA,
that's-
yes,
I'm
and that
sorry,
is
And I didn't mean
separate.
to put you on it, but the HCA, and I remember,
So in addition to the pilot, we would
Yeah.
be also willing to work with Town of Webster to, in
Yeah.
addition to the pilot, doing a host community agreement.
My understanding of the host community agreement, which has been in place for several years, was that you're agreeing to make the town whole on whatever taxes you would owe the town.
yeah. And we're getting, and once again, Don, I apologize. Brian Freeman from the school district, you, me, a couple months ago, I don't know if you were involved, but when we knew this was making its way, there was a bunch of elections, if you want to call it, resolutions done by the school board, by us, back in the 17, 18 range. And it had to do, when solar comes our way, how we get our money.
And I can answer that.
Do you want to please take the podium and answer that question so we can tie this up? And honestly, I just want to make sure that this is all out there, because I think this is a housekeeping item tonight at 7:30, when we refer it on to the planning board, I'd rather have any questions that the town board members have or concerns answered on this as far as town taxes. So go ahead, Donna.
So I wasn't prepared for the question, I don't have a
Sure.
timeline, but back when the real property tax law 487 came into effect, municipalities, and that would be every level of taxing jurisdiction, was allowed to either allow the exemption to go forward as a mandate, or had the option to opt out. Town of Webster opted out. So any project that comes through, for example, the project on State Road, that is a community solar, but of a much smaller scale, they are paying town taxes. So what I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball on, I would love to hear what the pilot is going to do and how the IDA is involved and what that would do to our wholly taxable status.
Sure.
The county did allow the exemption to go through, so the county would be fully exempt. And in that case, where the exemption was approved to go forward, you could enter into a pilot, and I don't know if it's that pilot or a separate pilot.
Yeah.
That they would pay some portion instead, based on the size of the project. So I need to understand more about the
It's okay,
FDA
because we don't need to
involvement.
understand it tonight, because it's going to make its way back over to the town board in 2 or 3 months after all that stuff. I will get with Kyle as the attorney.
Yeah.
I will get with you as assessor. I will get with Paul Adams, and we will dust off, which is only a few months ago, to show that our opting out of that exemption, which I might even have you pull the resolution from the teens. I think we already did, but
I
we'll
have that
pull it out.
resolution, so you don't need to
And I
give
think that
me-
is why we
Yeah.
are going to get the HCA, because we opted out. We didn't just blindly go along with the exemption. So,
Yeah. I know
thank you.
one pilot would not apply. If she's mentioning a second kind of
Right.
pilot, then it may apply, and we'll put our notes together.
Perfect.
Thank
Thank you. And Donna, I don't know if you leave the podium, because we are ready for the next presentation.
I have one other question.
Okay, let's do
I do
it.
have one question for this applicant,
Sure.
because you mentioned the other 40%. So Xerox was going to utilize 60% of the power generated from this solar array, and 40% would go to eligible subscribers.
Yeah.
Would the town actually be considered an eligible subscriber because it's for low to medium income or disadvantaged people in the greater, I don't know, Webster or Monroe County community?
It's also those supporting the LMI or disadvantaged communities. So there are members, I'm sure, within Town of Webster that are LMI community members. And so as a governance supporting those, you would be eligible to potentially be an off-taker as well, if that was of interest.
Okay, good to know.
Great.
Good to, well, I guess, need to do a little homework on
Yeah.
that, but that would be good,
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
especially since I'm trying to save
Yeah,
$5
and so
on
now
there.
our second presentation tonight is by Robert Kozarek. I hope I said that right, Robert.
That was close enough.
And actually, this is where Donna Komar, as our assessor, might join in, I'll see. Presentation from Robert from KLW Municipal on the town-wide revaluation. So Robert, take over.
Well, I just wanted to take a moment to introduce the fact that we're having a townwide revaluation. If you've received your town Webster, the Webster Today, excuse me, Supervisor Flaherty rebranded it. If you've received the July edition of the Webster Today, from the fold on back, you're going to see a lot of information about the project that is coming up. It was contracted in December of 2024, and we have hired the KLW Municipal Inc. Group, and Robert Kozarek is here today to answer questions for the board and give you a brief discussion and presentation about the project coming up.
Thank you, Donna. First, good evening. Thank you for having me here. And most of all, thank you for trusting us to partner with Donna and the entire town on this important project that we're beginning to undertake. Just a brief introduction. As you know, my name is Robert Kozarek. I've been an appraiser for longer than I care to disclose. But KLW Municipal is part of a larger organization, KLW Appraisal Group. We're a full-service real estate appraisal and consulting firm headquartered in Buffalo, New York. We have a department that does commercial, industrial only valuations, a residential department, and then, of course, the Municipal Inc. department, where we consult with municipalities and assessors throughout New York State on assessment issues, whether it's a full-blown reassessment project, or we also do like portions. We might do a portion of a project, or just contract out services to do data collection or things like that. We started the company the municipal company in 2004 for us to focus on the assessment community and helping assessors. I became involved in some of this and on a computer side, database issues, and saw a need for additional firms to work with assessors throughout New York State. So we started this project. We've done numerous projects since, and are looking forward to working in this project. A couple of these slides here, in fact, most of them are from a presentation that we're going to be doing next Tuesday for the community workshop meeting. But I just wanted to give you a little teaser on what it's going to be about and some of the important points on the assessment or on a revaluation project. Most important to understand for property owners is that reassessments do not raise taxes. It's a redistribution of taxes based on new assessed values. In doing a revaluation or reassessment, we look at all the information that's available on every property in the town. We look at market data, and we come up with values based on current updated market data to come up with new assessed values on properties. The reason why it's important to do reassessments or can do reassessments on a regular basis is real estate markets are very dynamic. They change constantly. That's why Fannie Mae in their underwriting guidelines will not allow an appraisal over 1 year old. They also do not wish to have comparables over 6 months because they understand that real estate markets can change. They can appreciate or depreciate very quickly, depending on market conditions and market reactions from the participants. What happens over time is different areas or different types of properties may appreciate or depreciate at different rates than other properties. And when you don't do a reassessment and keep up with those values, then properties end up getting not equitably assessed. Because certain neighborhoods or school districts may appreciate faster than others, and when their assessments stay and don't change to reflect that, people end up paying too much in taxes or too little in taxes. So doing a reassessment levels the playing field and brings everybody back to where they should be paying their fair share. So the revaluation process, a lot of it goes on, if you will, behind the scenes, where we're looking at market data, what's happening, Donna and her staff are constantly reviewing sales that are coming through from the county, entering them into their database, updating the information to make sure that what they have is accurate, or what's on file is accurate. Our team stays current on market trends. We do market studies, like I said, from residential properties to commercial properties. We're working all over the state all year long and keep up on all those trends. It's important to remember that the information that we're looking at and the assessments that we're going to be developing are all based on actual data from market participants, what a willing buyer and a willing seller want to buy a house for. The process of a revaluation is really threefold. There's the data analysis, the valuation production, and then the public interaction. When we do the data analysis, what that means is we're looking at each property to make sure that the information that we have on file is current and is up to date. When we get into valuation production, now we're looking at sales to see how those sales apply to each property in the town and how that affects the assessed value of those properties. Probably the most important phase of a reassessment project is the public interaction. So that happens at the very end. Well, actually, it happens at the very beginning, through the process, and at the end. We have it as phase 3, and that's really where once we have our new assessed numbers developed and finalized, then we do an assessment disclosure, and then we hold what we call informal meetings, where property owners can schedule appointments, sit down with myself or anybody in my team to ask questions to understand how we came up with that new assessed value on that property. Donna put together a 30-month timeline here for this project, and probably the most important part of a project is the public interaction and the public education. So for this project, we've already started the public education. Donna has, and the supervisor you've had 1?
4, 5?
5?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, five community office hours meetings where property owners could come in and ask questions to them. Next Tuesday, we'll be holding a community meeting with some questions and answers for the public to come and have this full presentation to understand what the reassessment process is, what to expect, timeline, and things like that. Starting in January of next year, we'll start doing more of our field work, more of our data analysis, getting involved and looking at all the properties throughout the town, which then the results of what we do will affect the tax bills for January of 27. Is that correct? And June of 28 for the village taxes. We've laid out a public education timeline. As I stated, there were community office hour meetings, this evening's presentation, next week's community meeting. Bridget is going to be launching a new reevaluation website where we'll put up frequently asked questions, and we'll continually post the process and where we are in the project, so the community understands that. And then in September, an exemption workshop is scheduled for the assessor to meet with homeowners so they can understand what exemptions are available for them. Throughout the entire project, we will be holding community meetings like the one next week to let the public know where we are in the phase of the projects. We'd also like to make presentations to the town board if we could at that same time and keep you guys apprised of our progress and where we are in the whole reassessment process. We do have a more of a detailed project timeline, which is on this slide, but it's also available on the website in PDF format, correct?
It will be.
It will be?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, I'd like to answer any of your questions.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I think this is a very important process, and I'm the liaison to assessing of the assessment office, and I'm very happy to be part of this team. One of the things, as far as community engagement, because as Robert said, that is very important. So in addition to the community sessions and the website that's going to be going up, the supervisor and I have been doing some door knocking and actually going door to door, and this is one of the things that we're talking about, because the engagement of the community is so important as part of this process, and being able to have some of those one-on-one conversations to alleviate the concerns is and will continue to be part of this process as we go through over the next, I guess, 2 years. 2 years.
Yeah, to your point, communication is paramount in this process. And I think we've seen the reaction of other towns around us who believe they were communicating. And that's why I was very happy to see the Webster today that arrived, I think it was yesterday or the day before, had dedicated, I believe, at least 2 pages to the
was
revealed
7.
process.
7.
7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's going to help a great deal, but anything that we can do outside of, Webster today or these community meetings, I don't know, radio ads, to get as many people involved and have them be made aware of what is coming, I think is going to help the overall process and the end delivery of the end product. It's going to help a great deal. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah. Jenny, anything on this?
Well, I know that the state, we have to keep up, with all the assessment, with all the states too and everything, so this is a requirement that, put forth that we have to do. So, and also as a real estate agent, I understand the market of, properties and everything. They just have to, people are encourage, people just have to learn, and if you have questions, please ask. That's what we're here for.
Patty?
No, I would echo what
Yeah.
Councilman Nguyen said. I urge the public to take advantage of all of the public sessions and the opportunity for education about this process.
Yeah, and I would just say that if anything, if people have gotten to know me over the last 5.5 years as supervisor, one, I'm a stubborn old Irishman, and 2, I love my numbers. And I think it's very impressive that Donna Comar's office has kept records really well the last 20 years. We thought that when we went out to companies to help us with this revaluation, it was going to cost $1 million, $1.2 million. We actually were able to pay about $400,000 to KLW, and we were able to use ARPA money for this. And we were very surprised when that bid came in, and as far as I said, how can that be? And this isn't really going and creating data from scratch. Donna and her department, and Donna is her reputation with the state assessment people and all that, put us in a position where we were able to do this revaluation after not doing it for 20 years for a price that we were all pleasantly surprised at. So that's my numbers thing. As far as the stubborn Irishman, all the other town supervisors that I go to monthly meetings with said, Flaherty, let me just tell you something. You're going to do a revaluation. They'd mock me because we haven't done it in 20 years. We're the longest by far of any town in Monroe County. And there's reasons for that, and I won't get into them now.
Thank you.
And they said, you are kidding yourself if you think you can get in front of this and assuage anxiety, because it's going to happen and people are going to storm and they're going to be on Berkeley Breen on the news. Berkeley, I just gave you a call out. My assessment doubled and people freak out because they immediately assume if your assessment doubles, then your taxes double, which is not the case at all. And I said, no, I think, I've been in business and communications for 40 years. If we really put our best foot forward on this, And it's a grassroots thing. And as Jennifer said, we've gone door to door. I've gone to 200 doors now in the first 6 weeks of this. I plan before I'm done as supervisor going to 1,000 doors. And I have the postcard that we use, and I said, listen, I'm here, I'm the supervisor, and I just, you have any questions on do you know about our revaluation? And if anybody plays poker and poker faces, people's faces, and all this anxiety, and I said, see, that's what I don't want for this community. I don't want a 2.5-year anxiety-ridden thing where they're festering the thoughts that the worst thing is going to happen. So I go over with them the postcard of how it works, and usually within about 3 minutes, they're like, oh, I didn't know that. And it's like, okay, one victory at a time. And Donna's department, we know we got to do that grassroots. Jennifer, I want to thank you for going door to door on this too. The more we can grassroots this thing, and I can't stress this enough, we started this in January of 25. This revaluation doesn't start till January of 26. Most people, when they start to, as John said, communicate it, which I don't think they do communicate it, they start communicating it when the revaluation starts in January of 26 through the completion in July of 27. We said, no, we are going to get ahead of this. We are going to start talking to our community in 25, a year ahead of it. Some people say that's leading into a fight with your face. Well, then fine, I'll lead into that fight with my face, because I've found that most of the people are very appreciative that we are reaching out and showing them that and alleviating those concerns. And I just hope over the next 5.5 months until I'm put out to pasture that I can continue to be helping with that cause, to be out in front of that and talk to people face to face. And I'll get off my soapbox. Thank you, Bob.
I'd like to say that you're 100% correct. Getting people understanding, being transparent makes the project go so much better.
Yeah.
When people understand what the process is and what the effect is, people, like you said, people think my assessment goes up, my taxes are going up. That's not the case. Assessments in a lot of projects we worked in, their assessments went up significantly and their tax liability actually went down.
Yeah.
So
You've also seen other communities, and I've noticed this throughout the years because I've kind of paid attention to it, where you'll do a reval and the property value will go up, all right? Your tax bill, your tax rate will go down, but you're still paying significantly more than you were the preceding year. So that's why you have to take a look at what you paid in taxes the previous year and compare it to what your new tax rate is.
right, and I'm sorry. And that goes to, like I said, when different properties are appreciated at different rates, that property then, what ends up happening is some people might be overpaying on their taxes, some people are underpaying.
Right.
So when a situation like that happens, that person and the value of that property was not properly reflected in the previous assessed value. So they were not paying their fair share.
It's another challenge.
Yeah, it is. And Bob, thank you. I got to keep on schedule
Okay.
here. We have three pretty important things tonight to go over in the third. Workshop presentation tonight is a construction update from Bob Wimmer of Navitas on how our sanitary sewer plant, or should I call it a water treatment recovery facility, Rick Canale, right? Where we're at in that project and some other things. So I'm going to hand the baton off to Bob Wimmer, Art Patrone, and Rick Canale. Have at it, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you. I'm Bob Wimmer with Navitas, the project director for the wastewater treatment plant upgrade. And we just wanted to provide progress in what's been going on out there. Certainly a lot of activity. So just to set some of the project history, The first study on this project was in July of '21, so it's been going on for a fair bit. The design of the facility upgrade was then in March of '22, and then the first discussions with Fairlife began in November of '22 also. So the start of construction was June of '23, so we're going on right now about month 25 of construction out there. And the anticipated completion of construction is July 9th of 2026, so about a little less than a year from now. And one of the parts of this project has been to prepare the facility to accept the wastewater flows that are coming from the new Fairlife facility. And the town and Navitas committed to getting certain components of the project up and running by August 30th of 2025. So coming up in about a month and a half to get these components ready for the facility. So going to be just a bunch of pictures of what's going on out there. So this is the site when it originally we got out there. This is from 2023. So this is an aerial flight. You can see over to the left there what looks like a UFO. That's a 50-year-old piece of equipment that had formerly served the village. And you'll see out here on the wastewater plant, take note to the far left, there's a lot of green grass out there. And since that time, there's been a tremendous amount of work but that's been done out in the facility. So this is where we were at the start of project construction. So here, this is a flight over the site. So coming in, and you'll see the wastewater plant start to appear here. On the far left, this is the new anaerobic digester. So this is a key component of the facility. That is up and running right now. And as we come in, you'll see one, that there's not a lot of grass left. There's been a lot of construction that's happened out there. And two, up on the far left is, stop right here. This is the new aeration basin. So this is a significant component of the construction to prepare for Fairlife. So all of this has been constructed and is going to be put in service actually on Monday. And then continue on the flight. Go to our next slide. This is coming at this facility from the other direction. You can see this. This is the new aeration basin that's been constructed and dug into the hill here. And up on the right is the new dryer and dewatering facility. So this takes care of the biosolids, the solids component of the facility. So lots of activity going on the site, lots of new components to bring this facility up to the modern world. Most of the equipment here was 30 to 40 years old. So there's a lot of old equipment that needed to be replaced and put into service to allow Art, Rick, and his team the ability to effectively treat the wastewater. And up here on the right, you can see the new anaerobic digester. And this shows a really good sense of the perspective of these tanks. So these are the three existing tanks that the town has used in the past. And you can see that this tank is about 100% larger than these three tanks combined. So we've about doubled the capacity and the ability to treat wastewater at the facility. So over the course of the 2 years, there have been a number of new systems that are already in service and online. New laboratory is in service, so allowing the plant staff to conduct all the analysis that's necessary for treatment of the wastewater and making sure they're in compliance with all of their regulations and permits. The grit and screenings facility, so this is the first step in the wastewater treatment plant. So this is where all the large trash, rocks, debris, gravel, other components of the system are removed.
Flushable wipes.
Flushable wipes, which are not flushable. I'll take my chance right now to do the PSA. Please do not flush flushable wipes. So these materials are removed. So all this equipment is in operation. Also, the primary clarifiers, which is the first physical chemical step of removal of waste from the process. So this is a settling step. So these clarifiers are in system along with a new set of sludge pumps. They're down here on the lower left. And one very important component of the facility upgrade on the bottom right is the installation of all new electrical equipment at the system. So the existing electrical equipment prior to this upgrade, you could no longer buy spare parts for, you could no longer do repairs to it. The equipment was just that old. And in also many cases, it was a safety hazard. It was no longer up to the electrical code. So anytime the staff had to work on it, it was a danger to the staff. So all of the new electrical equipment has brought the facility up to code. The gravity thickeners are part of the solids process. So these are these two large circular tanks that help to thicken material and remove water from the process. So these have been placed into service and are working as part of the solids process. And then the newest system to come online just in the last month and a half or so is the new primary anaerobic digester. So this takes the solid component that's left over after the treatment of the wastewater, and it converts it into methane or digester gas. So it's methane, and then it breaks down the solid material so that there is less material that has to be disposed of in the process. So it's a way of taking advantage of the biology and removing material that has to be handled, and then producing a valuable gas that can be used for combustion. So on the bottom right is the new boiler that heats the building attached to this and also heats these digesters. And part of the project is that the biogas or the methane that is produced as part of the process is burned in this boiler. So this reduces the operating costs of the facility because they no longer have to buy natural gas from RG&E to run the facility. Another safety improvement at the facility, all of the gas safety system has been installed. So at the end of the day, if the gas cannot be burned in the boiler to heat the building or heat the digester, it is flared, so it's combusted, and you can see just a little bit of flame up above here. So this is the safe destruction of this material. And then the collection of the gas, there's a number of safety features that are included in that. Again, this was equipment that had gone well past its useful life at the facility and was not functioning, so there were a number of safety issues out there that have now been addressed, and the facility is running very well. The next system to come online, which I said, again, is coming online on Monday, is the aeration basin. So this is the heart of the treatment process. So this is where air is applied to the wastewater in order to allow the bacteria to break down any of the waste products. So part of getting ready for Fairlife was an expansion of the aeration facility. So originally there were 3 aeration tanks and a 4th was constructed. And then at the bottom of these tanks are what are known as air diffusers, and these are what allow the oxygen to be transferred into the water for the bacteria to utilize. The equipment that is installed here is the highest efficiency air transfer equipment that is manufactured these days. So again, this is in a process of reducing the overall operating cost of the facility by reducing the amount of electricity that's needed in order to treat the wastewater as it comes into the facility. The new large building that's been constructed, this is the dewatering and drying facility. So one of the major drivers of the overall project was the ability to reduce the dependence on the landfill for disposing of the final product from the facility. So instead, they will be producing a biosolid or a fertilizer product. So that is all going into this component. There's a lot of activity out here, and wrapped up for Christmas for Rick and Dwayne and the rest of the crew is a unit that essentially looks like this. It's called a belt filter press. So that is under wraps here. This is an example photo, but that is set to be installed in the next month. And the installation of this is actually a very critical component because the current equipment, these guys are are doing an amazing job of holding it together with bubble gum and duct tape, but it's also had a bunch of repair bills that have come due in order to keep that system operating. So as soon as we can get this new belt filter press installed, it will take away a maintenance nightmare and also a maintenance cost for the facility. And then finally, we have the next big piece will be what's called the High Strength Organic Waste and Septage Acceptance Facility. Again, this is an example. This is a unit that is going to be installed to remove trash from material that comes into the facility. But this is another opportunity where Webster has taken the ability to get a revenue source. So by accepting waste that other people can't handle, but the facility is designed to handle, they'll pay a tipping fee to Webster to allow that treatment to occur. So this will help to offset the operational costs and the capital costs of the project. So this facility will be going in service somewhere in the September, October timeframe. So just to summarize, over the course of the last 2 years, the new administration building and lab have been put in, a whole new electrical service upgrade, the influence screens, grip removal, primary clarifiers, the new digester boiler, and then the flare and the gravity thickener. And again, in order to accommodate Fairlife, there were some commitments made by the town to do a new aeration basin, upgraded electric service, the new diffusers, and those systems will be online by August 30th to hit the commitment that Webster had made to Fairlife. And then the ongoing work, as I noted, is the dewatering drying building, so the installation of the fertilizer production facility, and a number of other components of the aeration system. So I'll take a quick break for questions on construction, and then if time permits, we have one other update to provide. And I'll refer to Tom, because I don't know if public questions are available at this time.
Public aren't, but.
Okay.
So, any questions from the board on the first pages?
Yep. So your project history in red identifies.
You know, we can only do as much as we can with the microphones. If you're having trouble hearing, why don't you come up and sit in the front row? You'll be able to hear much better. Okay.
And we need to talk like directly into the mics.
Yep.
So my question is, how does that August 30th date align with Fairlife commitment date? Will you be ready to receive their flow, and how much flow, gallons per day, do you envision them sending?
So, yes, we absolutely will be ready for the Fairlife flows to arrive. They are still providing their updates on their construction schedule.
Right.
So they had originally expected to send about 400,000 gallons a day in their first startup runs. And we're prepared to handle that flow. Where they are in terms of their construction schedule, I'm not, very deep into where they are, but we're ready for them. If they're ready to go, we're ready to take it.
That's the most important thing, as long as we're ready.
We are ready if they're ready.
That's great. The septic thing, question I have is the septic receiving, which is going to be a fantastic source of revenue for the town. What other areas, municipalities, communities close to Webster, the town of Webster, to your knowledge, have receptive receiving areas?
So Monroe County has a facility at Van Leer, but they're a little bit limited in the amount of capacity that they have. And there really are not anyone else close by as far as unless I'm missing one.
Not that I know. And this, it's a great question. So this building and infrastructure was built with the customer service in mind.
Right.
Time is money to the operators, and we know that. And we want to get them in and out as quick as possible. And we will track, the new system actually tracks what product is coming in, gallonage, truck, and possibly driver. And so the invoicing they'll receive will be extremely accurate as well.
So I just want to, at the end of the day, I just want to compliment all of you on this project, and your forward thinking, not only on the septic receiving, but also, and more importantly, the the new state-of-the-art drying building, because we are spending as a town currently at least $500,000 hauling. And that cost will dramatically decrease to almost zero because of this state-of-the-art building that we have invested in. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Jenny, any questions on the construction update?
Thank you for the presentation.
Jennifer, any?
No other questions.
Okay.
Glad we're ready for Fairlife. when
Yes.
They're ready.
Patty?
Oh, I have no questions. I'm down there very often as liaison to sewer.
Bob Wimmer,
Yes, Tom.
I got to apologize because it is 7:26 right now.
Okay.
And for the next section, could I convince you to come back maybe on August 7th? Well, actually, we're not doing a workshop on August 7th. We're doing the second budget workshop on August 7th. I hate to do this to you. Could you come back August 21st and present the potential new scope to this project that this board and potentially the January board could consider? And I know it's somewhat of a fluid, no pun intended, because some of the components of it just got passed in, what do they call that thing, the big beautiful bill. So I do think this board and other future board members, because I think if anybody's going to consider this new scope over and above what is an $85 million contract right now, I think that the board in January is going to be configured of at least two different people than you're sitting here with right now. And that would be the kind of decision that wouldn't happen between a workshop and the next board meeting. I'm sure there would be a lot of discernment on that, but we ran out of time tonight. I don't think you want to short it in 3 minutes. I think, I would be willing to on the 21st, because of the aspect of what you're going to present in that, we might just put the whole workshop toward that.
That's fair.
All right, so I apologize. And I will say this, right now, it's 7:27. We are going to complete tonight's workshop. The town board meeting, as legal will confirm, you can't start at 7:30 town board meeting early. That's against the law, but you can start it late. So we're going to take about a 5 to 7 minute break and try to start the town board meeting at 7:35. So
But
we're going to close down the cameras.
I have a
right now.
question,
We're going to, go ahead, sir.
real brief. To your point, Bob, you're going to come back and present. If at all possible, if you could send to the board any information related to what you will be presenting ahead of that date.
You got
It's in-
4 pages there.
It's in the end of your packet.
It's at the end of the packet, so
My understanding was you're
Thank you.
presenting something different as far as the scope goes. If the
It's-
scope is
it's in the-
changing.
it's the last
again,
4
it's
pages.
the last
All
4
right,
pages.
Thank you.
and So
Okay.
the town will see it, but I bet you on 21st of August,